Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm going to talk about the 60th anniversary and kind of how I've been really disappointed with the first half of 2023. This is supposed to be Doctor Who's 60th anniversary year. We're supposed to be getting all sorts of celebrations and stuff, and the first 6 months really haven't been that interesting. I mean, we've had updates on how the specials are coming and updates on stuff with series for 14, and that's great. I'm glad we're getting news about the specials and we're getting news about series 14. We've seen some of the outfits that Shooty's going to be wearing, and of course that Millie Gibson's going to be wearing, and that's great. I'm excited for that. But you know, after getting the strong rumor of more animations, of the potential of missing episodes being recovered, and then the next collection set still not being announced heading into July, it's been disappointing. Let's touch on those for a little bit. The animations, I would like to know more about this. Are we going to get both of them this year, or just an announcement for them this year? Because, I mean, animating these things well takes time. I think Evil of the Daleks took about 18 months. So if they're going to animate it well, it takes time. We've seen what happens if animations get rushed, and I would rather them take the time. But I would like some official confirmation from the BBC, whether it be Smuggler's Underwater Menace or whether that was a red herring and it's actually something else. If there are going to be more animations, I would like some confirmation. Just getting confirmation is a lot of times enough to keep us fans happy for a little while at least. The fact that that was reported by the Mirror, and my understanding is that the person who reported it, Nicola, is like really good at this stuff. She's on her A game about Doctor Who news. So usually if she makes a report on it, there's a strong ring of truth to it. I think she was the one who announced Evil and Abominable as well, and she was right about those. So I would like to get some more news about those. Missing episodes, I always take missing episode rumors with a grain of salt because I don't want to get excited just to be let down. And people are like, well, Philip Morris is saying it. And I'm like, yes, but Philip Morris has been saying for a while. I don't think his word carries as much weight with the fandom as it once did. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm always going to be grateful to him for recovering Web of Fear and Enemy of the World. That's awesome. He always will get props for that, and I will always be grateful to him for that. But at this point, you know, he keeps talking about the wind blowing in the right direction, and it doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere. Even if what he's saying is true and the people that he's talking about has those episodes, there's no guarantee they're ever going to lend those episodes out to be digitally copied. They might be one of those private collectors that just want to hoard them because of their value being possibly the only ones in existence or whatever. So I really don't like him hyping all of this up unless there's an end game here that involves us getting the episodes. Because I think he knows about where 6 of them all are, and then I know Paul said something about knowing where 3 of them are. I'd really like to see something come out of that. Now, if that's true, and there are missing episodes recovered, that could change the release order of the collection range. Like, you know, say if some episodes of Space Pirates or something are recovered, and that's the first Troughton, which I fully expect to be the first Troughton. You know, they would probably want to do a standard release. Each story that had a missing episode recovered would probably get a standard release, whether it be this first one or a special edition, before in the collection range, just to cover cost of cleanup and restoration and all of that. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. I just wonder how much it would change the current time frame of collection releases. So while I hope there are missing episodes that have either been found or they're in the process of maybe negotiating to borrow, I don't hold stock in that until I hear something official. We also have them talking about possibly recoloring, or not recoloring, but colorizing some of the black and white episodes. I don't really think that's necessary, but it's an interesting endeavor. I know they've colorized a couple episodes of another British show, like Hancock or something like that, a popular show from like the 50s or 60s. And apparently that it turned out really well, is my understanding. So there's talk of maybe a couple Doctor Who stories being colorized. Again, I don't think I've heard anything official on that. I'm curious to see where that's going to happen. But again, if that's going to happen, are we going to get it anytime soon, or is it like, is everything going to hit in November? I don't want everything crammed into November. See, I liked, say with Tennant's specials, where his specials were spread out over the year. Same thing with like the 50th anniversary. We had celebrations all year long, and I never expected the 60th anniversary to be as big as the 50th anniversary, because the 50th anniversary is the 50th anniversary. That's a big deal. So I never expected the 60th to hit that high of notes, especially with the popularity of the show not being what it was in 2013. But at least during the 50th, it felt like a year-long celebration with different stuff happening. Whereas the 60th really hasn't thus far. I do love the fact they switched back to the diamond logo. I love that. But it just really hasn't felt like a celebratory year. And I'm worried it's all going to be loaded into December, and or November, and I don't want everything just crammed into November. I don't like the fact they're doing all three of Tennant's specials like right there in November. I'm guessing maybe a week apart. I don't know how they're going to do it. But they seem like they're going to all be in November, when I would have rather had them spread out over the year. Now, I think they decided late for Russell to take over and Tennant to come back. So they needed time not only to film everything, but to get all the VFX done. I think they're still working on VFX. I think only the first episode of the specials is finished with its VFX. I still think they're doing the intro to it. So they probably needed time to get all that done, and that's fair, because Chris Chibnall and the BBC have made no secret of the fact that they were considering canceling Doctor Who after Power of the Doctor, and it's only because Russell stepped in they decided to renew it and make all these big plans for it. They've talked about that before, because even the BBC knows that Doctor Who was sinking faster than the Lusitania, let's be honest. I don't think it's inappropriate to say that the Whittaker era of Doctor Who failed. It failed. Whether you like it or not is up to you. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing anything. If you like Whittaker's Doctor or her era, that's fine. But objectively, it failed. I mean, the numbers reflect it, comments other people have made, people behind the scenes, and the BBC have said, reflect it whether they address it directly or not. But I know Chris Chibnall has talked before about how they were talking about just probably putting the show on hiatus again. And luckily, Russell stepped in, he's turning it around, and now they've got a bigger budget, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So another thing that's irking me is not having any news on the next collection set. What is going on with the collection sets? I fully expected to have an announcement by now. I fully expected to get 3 sets this year. And when everyone started kind of panicking that we might only get 2, I still thought, well, we still got the month of June, because I remember hearing talk at the end of May about being surprised we haven't got one yet. And I'm like, well, as long as we get an announcement by June, by the end of June, we should be good. But here we are knocking on July as I'm recording this, and still nothing. Still nothing, because I figured there's only a 2-month gap between the announcement of Season 9 and the release of Season 9, so I figured maybe they were just tightening up, you know, their release window and not doing an announcement until they had a release date really pinned down. And so there'd be maybe a 2-month window. I figured we needed to get a second set by the end of August to potentially get a 3rd set this year, especially since it's 99% certain that we're probably going to get Season 20 next, unless they've reworked something. Season 20 seems strongly hinted at. TARDIS Team 5 has mentioned it several times. It's coming. You know, Peter Davison, Janet Fielding have mentioned that Season 5 should be coming around in the summer. And so everybody figures Season 20 next in the summer. Now, I don't know if things have happened behind the scenes that have caused a problem. Maybe wherever they're producing these now. I don't know if they're still producing them in Poland or where. But wherever they're producing the sets, the actual physical sets, maybe there's an issue there. Maybe there's a problem with the factory. Maybe something's going on in that country causing problems. So maybe production is held up. Maybe something has happened on the BBC's end that have caused them to have to reorder things. I don't know how lost episodes being found would affect Season 20, but maybe somehow they've had to restructure things. Maybe they realized they're only going to be able to get out 2 sets instead of 3. Maybe they'd rather try to get out a Tom set because it's the 60th instead of a Davison set. So maybe things have happened to cause delays. You know, things that, of course, they're not going to tell us about. Now, I personally wanted 3 sets this year. It's an anniversary year. And I think you need a Tom Baker set in the anniversary year. That makes sense to me. So if we only get 2 this year, I am going to be very disappointed. And it falls back on just feeling like not enough has been done in this first half to make it feel like an anniversary for Doctor Who. I remember feeling exactly the same way I did, wondering why Power of the Doctor did not get any marketing, which turned out to be wrong. Power of the Doctor ended up to be probably Whittaker's best story, and I ended up enjoying Power of the Doctor. So maybe once everything hits in the next few months, the second half of the year will be phenomenal. It'll be a great anniversary year. Who knows? I know they've gotten Big Finish stuff coming. I'm going to be honest, a lot of the Big Finish stuff they've announced I don't really care for the 60th. Like the Doctor degenerating into previous incarnations, don't really care for that. So I'm not really interested in that. I don't know if there's any of the novels they've announced I really care for. The main things I'm interested in is finding out news on animation stuff, hopefully getting some kind of news on missing episodes, and finding out what the next collection set is. Those are the main things that I'm wanting to know, and it just seems like we're getting nowhere. So for me, the first 6 months, other than getting season 9, have been mostly a bust. I have, again, enjoyed the updates on not only the specials, but on Series 14. I love the fact that it looks like the 15th Doctor and Ruby are going to be wearing period piece costumes in the past a lot. I like that. I like when the Doctor has different wardrobes, honestly, so I like the idea of them wearing period piece clothes. And I've got to where I really like historicals when the Doctor goes to the past, so that could be really fun for me. So I've enjoyed all of those updates and everything, but overall, yeah, lackluster first 6 months other than season 9, really, which season 9 is fantastic. So here's hoping we get an announcement soon about something. And then hopefully we just don't have everything crammed into November. I don't want to get all of David Tennant's specials in November, and a collection box set in November, and animation news or missing episodes. I don't want all of that in 1 month. My mind will just, spread that out a little bit. Give me something in July. I either want a collection announcement, a missing episode announcement, or an animation announcement in July, or at least August, but preferably July, or I'm going to be cross. So that's my thoughts on that, my disappointment with the first 6 months of 2023 and Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. It feels a little... It's left me a little dissatisfied, a little unsatisfied. So I want to know what you think and what you've thought of 2023 so far. So comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. I am trying to grow the channel to 1,000 subscribers this year. So every one of you helps, and I certainly appreciate it. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There's a link to that down in the description below. That does help me keep the bills paid these days. I also want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of each and every one of my patrons. I have a P.O. box. If there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review, that's down there, as is a link to my Amazon wish list as well, which I update regularly. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.